Hi, everybody. It is Saturday, the 13th. Um, I wanted to share something with you. I know I've been sharing the images on my face and stuff that are unfolding. I haven't looked at my eyes in probably about a week. Um, Maybe I will, because my eyes have been really bothering me here the last couple of days. And usually, when that happens, what I mean by bothering me is, you know how you have, I can't even think of the thing, but you have floaties in your eye. Well, I've always had floaties in my eyes. My goodness, since I was a child. And, then they give you glasses and all this stuff. Well, ever since, 2020, actually, it was 2022 around, I'd say around August, because that's when my mom went to the hospital, after about 3 or 4, booster and of those shots because she had to have surgery on her shoulder because she pulled her shoulder out. Well, before they do any surgery on her, she had to have those pew-pews. They forced on her, so it's either the surgery or get this. So she had no choice. Um, and then she had like 7 surgeries, anyway, but the same thing over and over because her the blood kept clotting up on her. And the pump that they had kept malfunctioning because the blood kept clotting up, and the machine was supposed to be there to keep the blood from clotting. It's so interesting, right? So it gives you a lot of information about that. The jab jab, and then it was she was in a recovery place, and I was sitting in this room, and it's kind of halfway dark, and the TV was on, and I was trying to focus my eyes when I was looking at the TV, and it's like everything went totally blurry, like it was hard to see out of both eyes. And I'm like, my goodness, what is going on? And I just looked over at Mom, and I give her a kiss on the forehead. I said, Mom, I've got to go right now. I've got to go check out some things, And so I run out to the truck, and I've got my phone camera, and I'm got it up there, and I'm taking pictures of my eyes, thinking, what is going on with my eyes? And that's when I started realizing the images coming out of my eyes. And then I was kind of afraid because I need to drive back home, right, from Lebanon to Albany, which is about, I'd say probably about 20-minute drive, 25-minute drive. And so as soon as I took the pictures, or like I've experienced up until this date, when my eyes get really blurry and I have a hard time seeing, I just get up and take a picture, and within minutes I'm able to see again. I don't know if it was some type of saying, pay attention here, blackout here, now react, but how I reacted and immediately took the camera and did that is, I think, was on a subconscious level. But anyway, I just wanted to get on here today and talk about the one that, was just recently assassinated. His last name, okay, let's start with the town that he was in, Orem. Orem, O-R-E-M, is from, I think it's Greek word, O-R-M, Orm. Orem means dragon or serpent. Okay, so that's very important to understand about this whole kind of thing, what is happening too as well. And then you got uh, Kirk's last name. Kirk uh, means church. Okay, well then Brother Dana, that's his channel. He was putting out a video yesterday or day before yesterday. No, it was on the day that it happened, on 9/11. He put out a video mentioning that in Acts, I think it's the last chapter, Acts. Anyway, Acts is like lined up perfectly. And even Obama, when he was in the classroom reading that that Black Santa Claus book to the classroom, so from 9/11, so 9/11, they discovered is Jesus's birthday. So now you have Kirk, the church, 9/11, the church goes down, right? Well, then if you look at Obama's book, the ending of his book is Santa Claus couldn't leave because his engine, something happened to his sleigh, something broke down. So they extended it 3 more days until the parts come in, right? So it shows in the book the Santa Claus going online, and ordering these parts. But anyway, so that means a 3-day stall. So this is kind of like saying the 3 days of darkness. And where everybody else is looking at the 23rd, that type of darkness, as in a darkness like a blackout, kind of like darkness. But this is a darkness of the church, right? The church has been taken, pretty much the church has been taken out. So now you have 3 days of darkness. So I think that Brother Danny was doing this map and reading from Acts, the end of Acts, to where they actually had to have 3 more days before the Lord coming pulled his people out. And then it says they will no longer be in captive. What does that say in Acts? Let me try to get as much as I can from memory. It talks about a destruction. He lifts it, and then something about the people will be taken. There'll be kind of like a destruction. This is how I viewed it, and then the people. I think we're going to be delivered back after the destruction, because it says, "My people will no longer be pulled up from their land. They will build. They will build their homes and build something. They'll build something, but the Lord says that He will supply them and plant their fields with crops. He will, fruit, just like it is now." So it's kind of like saying a reset, where everything gets kind of like wiped out, and then God replants it again. Remember the movie Scorpion King? And the desert just flourished and turned into a whole new world, all the green trees and fruits and everything. So that's what was going through my visual part of my mind when I was reading that. So I'm like thinking, oh, okay, so it's kind of like a clearing. Take your people off, a clearing of the land, and then replant everything. And our job is to rebuild our homes and our families and our lifetime. So it's kind of interesting. But I don't know if that's how it's going to work or anything. And I think that's when, Jesus' reign is reigning, on the land. So, because 1,000 years Jesus reigns, 1,000 years evil reigns, 1,000 years Jesus reigns, 1,000 years, so that's why. And then how our world stage is like a play, a script, a movie. I know we don't see it like that because, it's actually real life, and it's, removing us off stage, that kind of like thing. But perhaps, just maybe that is how this matrix system is set up. Perhaps it's the soul's journey to discover itself, realize it's here in this, because some people go, it's a soul trap. But I think what it is, I think it's kind of like a game, a theater, to where we have to learn to get back with God. We have to learn to get right with people. We have to learn to get right with the land. We have to see the mirror of us in earth, like her, how she sustains herself and how our body sustains ourselves, right? And so many other things, and getting smart and doing right and being with God and not doing evil or vile things like that, being vampires and crazy stuff like that, and sacrificing things, when there's no need for any of that. And discovering the true church that God built is actually the body in man, right? The XY chromosome. The X is the female, the Y is the male. It's kind of like saying mother and child. And here, it's like man is like mother and child, male and female. First creation. If you look at the system, it was man and mother. So the system was created, mother was created, and then man was created for the system. So mother and child, that kind of like, I don't know if I've lost anybody on that. But anyway, then you get back to what is happening on the world stage. And a lot of people say, well, it's because it's biblical and stuff like that. I think it's biblical because it's being played out that way so people understand. Because like right now, after that incident had happened, there's many people getting fired and removed from their jobs, even the high places to the lowest place. It's kind of like saying the great division, the great divide. It's also a wake-up call to those that are in those parties, in those circumstances and issues, and are too blind to see, right? So the only way for them to be able to see and wake up is to actually have the event, because they could have done this. They could have done this at his home. They could have done this, when he was at the park. They could have done it anywhere else, but they wanted to make sure that it was done in front of a whole group of people and it was broadcasted, kind of like thing. So that's why I was saying, I think this time of the year is very important because it's describing our next step. And just like in the book of Acts, they take 3 days, right? So it's like we have 3 days of mourning, 3 days of darkness because of the church, Kirk. And I don't know what anybody's got views about him, but, I loved him. I don't love him as in love him. I love his work. I love his honesty. I love how he was telling these people the right thing and how they couldn't see. They just were so blocked in their ways. They refused any truth to go in. So I've learned from both sides of that as well. But the fact that all these kids are, and school principals and then the security detail that's on Secret Service and just crazy stuff like that. People I only see a person of color in the military where he was smiling about it and he was playing a song, saying something about you deserve it. Nobody deserves that. If you look back at the Democrat Party and the evilness that they were doing, that, how they were locking up the innocent and letting the evil go, and how there's still the DEI judges are still doing it. And that's why all these other, things, people are been taken out. And they don't see a problem, or they don't talk about it on the media, especially when it's a person of color, they will not cover it. But if it's a white person, they have it all over the place. Or, even Hispanic show, person of color, they won't show it. Or even if it's somebody from another country, like, the Middle East or something that's over here, they won't make a scene about it or publish it. So you can kind of see how things are unfolding or that way. So I think Brother Dana, that's his channel's name, BRO, I think, or wait a minute, maybe it's Broth, Dana. But either way, look him up. But he's got the chart lined up, and it shows that on the third day we leave. So we could actually leave tonight on the 13th at midnight, or I think he said it would be noon on the 14th, because the 14th would actually be the third day. And here, this probably might confuse you or something. But on the Gregorian calendar, September we see as the 9th month. But the word sept in September means 7. Right. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, it means 7. So 7 to us would be July. So if you look at 9/11 and 7/11, I think Obama had mentioned that about 3 years ago to Trump, saying he's getting 7/11 and 9/11 mixed up. So it's kind of interesting. So that's how they figured out Jesus' birthday was on, 9/11. And when you go back to the 7/11, so you got July for 7/11, but the word July, now this is where it's interesting. The word July actually means 5, and that would be the 5th month in the, I do believe it's the Torah or the biblical calendar, whatever. So now that I was looking at it, it was so interesting because last night I was tossing and turning, thinking around midnight or so. I woke up, and in my mind and my thoughts, I kept seeing 9/11, 7/11, 5/11. And then it was like this urge to figure it out. So, and I just got up and I'm just like, I ran in and I wrote it down, because it was kind of like on a repeat cycle, and it was kind of annoying me. I was like, what am I supposed to figure out? I must figure out something. And so the only thing I kept thinking about is how that was being played out, but I haven't thought about it. I mean, it hasn't come up to me, and I don't know if it was for me to just get up and think about it, or get up and release it, or get up and write it down. But that's what I did. Anyway, so hopefully we are out of here Sunday. And it's kind of interesting because it also says in Scripture, may your flight not be in the winter, and may it not be on a Sabbath. So Sunday is perfect. And I think even the stars, and then back in 2001 of the 9/11, the sun and the moon, it's the moon. The moon is close to almost the exact same spot as it was on 9/11 this year. It was just a little bit. So let's say the moon's right here in the constellation of all these signs, and I can't quite remember all the signs. I think Orion was right here, so it's just like up above Orion. So during the 2001, Orion's torch that he was holding up, the moon was just right up above that torch. And I think Gemini is right up there. And so the hand of Gemini, I think, comes down, and it's just right below the hand of Gemini right now, which is by the torch. So it's kind of like that type of symbolism. But anyway, it's in the same area. So I don't know. I just wanted to share that with you guys, and also talk to you about, just in case things don't go the way. And again, that Sammy Hagar that I was telling you about, that song where it talks about you will know where you will know where you're gonna go, as the Great Divide will happen in 2025. And that song was written. Let's see here. It got published in 1977. 77. I think it was 2 or 3 years. 74. 76. Oh, 75. The song was created in 1975, but it wasn't released until 1977, which is, interesting as well. There's 77. It's about God. I don't know. I just know that if our time is short, like we're about ready to leave here, that I may get out, and because online right now, I was just getting really upset since yesterday and today, and I mean, not upset, but bothered and irritated of how people are laughing about this, how they find it funny, how presidents of Oxford College was now saying, go after the wife and the sibling, the little ones. That I mean, I was so upset when he said that or put that on the post, because now people are asking for him to get booted out of Oxford and everything, which he deserves it. But after that, I just thought, how demonic can you get? And then there's another teacher, that was got onto the PA system and was like saying, you heard about such and such. Well, you reap what you sow. He deserved it and all this stuff to the whole school system board. Oh my gosh. And then they showed pictures of the school system. They were showing all these posters of hate. So it's like, even from before this had happened, they showed how the universities and colleges and schools have in their, everywhere they go, there's signs posted about how evil the Republicans are, how evil everybody else is but them. And they're doing hateful, vile things. So I think getting back to where I think this was done on purpose and by God's choice, so everybody sees it, is to expose the evil, expose those that are enjoying it, that are just pure evil. And it worked. It's like they come out of everywhere. They were even in the crowd. That one guy, after the event happened, they showed, they still had the camera going from the back, and he is standing up cheering and stuff. Now he's online, post after post, saying, no, that's not what I meant. I didn't. When we know exactly what he meant, because he got caught, got busted, and I guess people are now kind of threatening him and his family, which I don't. I do not. To fight evil, the only way you can do that is through love. Some people say that you got to take him out. Well, I'm sure there are situations of that, but I think that there's other ways of dealing with it. Like isolating them, taking away their freedom or whatever in a cell, or, that type of thing, that type of punishment. But I just don't see how taking somebody off the world stage is going to help anybody, or how society is supposed to, be an active, productive society and a caring society if that's what's on your mind and that's what you think. If that's your first reaction to do. It's really sickening and sad. And there's a fly. Oh my God, that fly is so bizarre. So yesterday I come down here and I went for a walk, and got my walk. No, I didn't. I didn't go for a walk down here. I did it at the apartment because when I got down here, I figured I'd just hang out a little bit, take some pictures and see if I could see any images. And there was like 5 or 6 flies that, was just constant bothering him. And I thought, man, this is just evil. What the heck is this stuff? So I took off and I went back home on my way back home. And I thought I got them all out of here. It didn't, because I hadn't rolled up the windows and stuff. And then there was this one that would pop up and he wouldn't leave me alone. I was like, wow, you guys are seriously irritating. But anyway, thanks for listening to me today. This kind of hope. This is like the 3rd car that's went through with its flashers on. What the heck is going on? Why are people driving around with their flashers on? Emergency flashers. Seriously, that's the 3rd car that's come by, drove by really slow with its flashers on. Anyway, I hope you all are doing good. I'm going to stop this broadcast and get out there and get a little motivated. So have a good day.